Good morning, peace and blessings to you. This is our breakfast. Pay attention. And this is being used for educational purposes only under the Fair Use Act.
In the fight against Zika. So when they release our males, they have one job, to find a female and pass on their genes. When they do that, they pass on the self-limiting gene to the female. The offspring, inside this chamber, this lab in the Florida Keys just received...
Not gonna mention that they bite people on the way to finding the females, right?
So when we release our males, they have one job, to find a female and pass on their genes. When they do that, they pass on the self-limiting gene to the female. The offspring inherit that gene, it's passed on to the offspring, and they die. The British company Oxitec claims they've already had success fighting the Aedes aegypti mosquito in Brazil and the Cayman Islands. By adding tetracycline, they create mosquitoes able to mate with mosquitoes in the wild and produce offspring which die before they can mate. The company says it's 90% effective. But there's resistance stateside, people fearing an unknown effect on humans and the environment.
We are reading Bill Cooper's Pale Horse, and what we just learned about is the what is it? The warfare. It's not psychological or geographical. I could be wrong, y'all, but all types of warfare.
Officials are pushing for the immediate use of the lab-created insects.
42 Mosquito Control District is one of the best in the world, and we didn't get that way from being hesitant to try new technology.
And this is where we put the lobby. A referendum vote will be held in November, whether or not to allow this.
Excuse me?
Indiana Governor Mike Pence will be touring hard-hit areas today after central Indiana is hit by at least 8 tornadoes Wednesday. The hardest hit areas are in the city of Kokomo in Howard County. That's just over an hour north of Indianapolis. Take a look at this Starbucks in that city. The storm leveled it, but the company confirms everyone inside at the time was okay. Right now, a state of emergency has been declared for both the city and county. Another hard-hit area in Montgomery County, northwest of Indianapolis. This is video of that apartment complex.
Can we say Mother Nature is upset? Can we say that? Yeah.
The minister says the country will confront any foreign vessel that trespasses into its territorial waters. Brigadier General Hossein Defan said Iranian speedboats constantly monitor the developments and foreign vessels' movements in the Persian Gulf. Defan added if any vessel enters Iran's waters, it will be warned, and if the move is deemed an act of aggression, Iranian naval forces will
visual contacts on 4 Iranian push WPB bearing 270 relative at 300 yards. Bridge-to-bridge calls were conducted, no response. Weapons uncovered and conducting routine spirit patrol. Appears to be unsafe, unprofessional. This is standing by to charge and report.
U.S. Navy officials said 4 Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps vessels conducted a high-speed intercept of the USS Knights in waters near the Strait of Hormuz Tuesday, deeming the incident unsafe and unprofessional. The officials said 2 of the vessels slowed and turned away only after coming within 300 yards of the U.S. guided missile destroyer as it transited international waters near the Strait of Hormuz, and only after the destroyer had sent multiple visual and audio warnings. The incident is only the latest in a series of all-too-close encounters with Iran in the region since December. These brushes have included Iranian rocket launches, drones flying over U.S. vessels, and the capture of U.S. sailors in January.
Wow. Huh.
The extent of the devastation is astounding. The earthquake shifted the hills upon which these medieval villages had stood undisturbed for centuries. Whole towns flattened, like here in Pescara. Rescue workers look like ants as they search for survivors. In Amatrice, it's the same story. A town in ruins. Crews working through the night. 3:38, the moment the quake hit. The first night after their homes were leveled, survivors sleep in makeshift shelters. Everything is gone, yet fears of looting means they stay close. There are 350 quake survivors here. Others are staying in their cars because they didn't want to abandon their property. In the indoor gym, there's another 50 people where they can keep warm. It's mostly the elderly, the disabled, and children. There's another small camp 20 kilometers away because they couldn't get here. Many older Italians have seen earthquakes before.
And that was the earthquake in Italy. I also want to go ahead and donate. Give me one moment while I put in my personal information. I just want y'all to see that I stand by what I say. My receipt has been emailed. Y'all, we have to keep donating to the cause. Have to. And let me see if I can go to my own. It's so sad I haven't been here so long. When I have that thing plugged in charging.
Says that the operations will continue until the Kurdish forces, the PYD and the YPG, are pushed back to east of the Euphrates. There is upwards of 20 new Turkish tanks that have entered Syria on Wednesday. As well, the Ankara says more will be sent if needed. On our way to this location, we saw about 10 more tanks sitting idle on the side of the road, ready for that deployment if Turkey deems it necessary. Earlier on this morning as well, the Secretary of State, John Kerry, who of course U.S. is backing the Kurdish rebel force inside Syria, did speak to his Turkish counterpart, Mevlut Cavusoglu, to say that yes, the Kurdish fighters are retreating back to east of the Euphrates. So according to Ankara, it looks like this operation, Euphrates Shield, is going as planned.
State Department warns U.S. citizens to leave Gaza as soon as possible. Whenever a government does that, warning its citizens, they have to take heed because they know that something may be developing. So, is there another war brewing between Israel and the Palestinians? It seems likely given the stern warning that the U.S. State Department delivered on Tuesday, as well as some of these skirmishes that have been occurring between Israel and Hamas this week. They warned against traveling to the Gaza Strip, and they urged, quote, those present to depart as soon as possible when border crossings open. They specified that all Americans in Gaza should cross over into Egypt or Israel before adding, Gaza is under the control of Hamas, a foreign terrorist organization. The security environment within Gaza and its borders is dangerous and volatile. The State Department also advises Americans to, quote, maintain a high degree of situation awareness, and, quote, avoid demonstrations and to find the location of the nearest bomb shelter. Warnings against traveling to the West Bank were also posted. So Palestinian militants and Israeli forces have clashed intermittently since 2014, and it's believed that the latest warnings issued by the State Department are a response to a recent event that took place at the Israeli border of Sderot. EPA links earthquakes and fracking. Earthquakes diminish following well shut-in. In a rebuke to Texas regulators, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, stated for the first time that there is a significant possibility that disposal wells for fracking are causing earthquakes in the Dallas area. And let me put my own comment here. It's also in Oklahoma every single day. Tens of little earthquakes. EPA links earthquakes and fracking.
What do you know?
Well shut-in. In a rebuke to Texas regulators, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, stated for the first time that there is a significant possibility that disposal wells for fracking are causing earthquakes in the Dallas area. And let me put my own comment here. It's also in Oklahoma every single day. Tens of EPA links earthquakes and fracking. Earthquakes diminish following well shut-in. In a rebuke to Texas regulators, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, stated for the first time that there is a significant possibility that disposal wells for fracking are causing earthquakes in the Dallas area. And let me put my own comment here. It's also in Oklahoma every single day. Tens of little earthquakes because of fracking in Oklahoma. Going back to the article. Irving, a northwest suburb of Dallas, has been rattled by several earthquakes since April of 2014, with a high...
Keep in mind that this is used for educational purposes only and covered under the Fair Use Act.
Though there are no active fracking or wastewater injection wells in the city. Wells for fracking are causing earthquakes in the Dallas area. And let me put my own comment here. It's also in Oklahoma every single day. Tens of little earthquakes because of fracking in Oklahoma. Going back to the article. Irving, a northwest suburb of Dallas, has been rattled by several earthquakes since April of 2014, with the highest magnitude of 3.6 recorded January 2015. The earthquake shook the city of 230,000, though there are no active fracking or wastewater injection wells in the city. The Texas Railroad Commission, which regulates oil and gas drilling, has been reluctant to acknowledge any connection between drilling and the earthquakes, despite the conclusions of scientists and regulators in other states. The Commission has said that scientific data do not sufficiently support a causal relationship, according to the EPA. Well, that's because it's to their benefit. They just turn a blind eye and they keep on fracking. But in August 15 report, the EPA said, in light of findings from several researchers, its own analysis of some cases, and the fact that earthquakes in some areas diminished following shut-in or reduced injection volume in targeted wells, the EPA believes there is significant possibility that North Texas earthquake activity is associated with disposal wells. The 61-page report is the EPA's annual evaluation of the Railroad Commission's underground injection control program released. This action resulted in successful voluntary closure or injection volume reduction for several Class II disposal wells, the EPA said in a report. Seismic activity in these three areas substantially diminished in frequency and magnitude. However, earthquake events continue in other areas of North Texas.
A man who police say was living in the country illegally is accused of having sex with a 16-year-old. Gabriel Fernando Quinones was found on Tuesday hiding out at a Mesa hotel. Investigators say the abuse happened 4 times over the past couple of weeks. Court paperwork shows the girl's mother recorded a conversation with Quinones where he apparently admits to those acts.
A 6-year-old boy was shot this morning. The shooting happened at a home on Wisconsin Street around 7:45 this morning. 41 Action News reporter Allison Bruner is in Lawrence. Allison, what can you tell us now?
Well, Cynthia, right now, investors are going through evidence